I was standing in the Walmart checkout line when my phone buzzed for the fourth time. Her father's name again. Same message as before, just angrier. "Where the hell are you? The investors are already seated. Don't embarrass me." His words always came dressed as authority, but they reeked of desperation. Still, I didn't answer. In front of me, a man was emptying his pockets onto the conveyor. Coins, a few crumpled bills, and a pharmacy receipt. His hands trembled, the kind of tremble that didn't come from fear, but hunger. He whispered an apology to the cashier that she didn't bother hearing. "Go ahead," I said quietly. "Keep the groceries." The man shook his head. I can't afford." "I know." I slid my card. Paid. He tried to speak, but gratitude caught in his throat like a shard of glass. He walked away clutching the bag to his chest as if it were something holy. My phone buzzed again. "Come, now. You had one job." I put the phone face down, let it vibrate into silence. As I walked out into the bright parking lot, I felt the familiar stillness crawl up my spine, the one that always arrived right before something in my life shattered. A laugh from behind me, a voice I knew too well. My wife. She was leaning against her father's car, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Dad is furious," she said. "Just try not to screw this up more than you already have." Something in her tone, it felt like the edge of a blade pressed to the back of my neck. And yet I felt nothing, just the cold beginning of clarity. The meeting was in a glass-walled conference room on the 27th floor, her father's kingdom, polished and bright enough to blind anyone who mistook money for power. I stepped inside, late by 9 minutes. The room fell quiet. Not a respectful quiet. Her father stood at the head of the long mahogany table, his investors surrounding him like vultures wearing designer suits. "There you are," he said, loud enough for everyone. "Our coffee guy finally made it." Laughter cracked through the room. My wife didn't look at me. She just smirked at her nails, the same way she smirked whenever she hid the truth from me. Something felt off, not just the humiliation, something deeper. A week earlier, I'd found a message on her phone she forgot to delete. A thread between her and her father. "He's too soft, too moral, too useless. Don't worry, after today, he'll be out of the picture." Another, "B has agreed. We'll handle the contract renewal without him. Play along." She didn't call me him when she loved me. She used my name. I spent nights replaying those messages, not confronting, just studying. Her late-night calls, her sudden secrecy, the way she shielded her phone with her body, the way her father said, "My daughter deserves better," with growing boldness. It wasn't infidelity, it was worse. They were setting me up to fail publicly, professionally, so I'd lose credibility, lose position, lose the very ground I stood on. A quiet character assassination. I looked at her across the table. She looked back with bored indifference. And in that moment, as her father called me the help again, I realized they didn't want me gone. They wanted me replaced. In the days leading up to the meeting, while they whispered behind closed doors, I investigated quietly. I went through financial logs from my father-in-law's company, the parts my wife thought I didn't understand. I found inconsistencies, money moving in places it shouldn't, investors who weren't actually investors, names that didn't match contracts, and one signature repeated everywhere: B. Wycliffe. A billionaire, a ghost in the world of industry, someone who didn't make deals, he ended them, and apparently he had agreed to meet today. Except there was one problem. Every file I touched, every plan they made relied on me not being in the room. The coffee guy narrative wasn't an insult, it was the alibi. Her father needed to prove I was incompetent, emotional, late, useless. My wife played her part, cold, dismissive, quietly encouraging her father's distaste. Because if I looked unstable, then the signatures tied to me on multiple documents could be historic mistakes, errors they could wipe away to hide embezzlement. If their investors found out, It wouldn't just cost him his company, it would cost him his freedom. So I stayed calm, collected, quiet. Every night I built a folder, photos, records, transfers, messages. I compiled it all with precision, knowing every piece of proof had to be perfect. Not loud, not dramatic, just undeniable. By the time the morning came, I didn't walk into Walmart because I was distracted. I walked in because I needed a reason to be late, an act of humanity they would never expect, and a witness. The cameras captured everything. A simple moment. A man in need. Me stepping in. A stark contrast to the corruption I was about to expose. So when I entered that glass room and they mocked me for being late, I felt my heartbeat slow. The calm before a storm only I understood. Her father cleared his throat loudly. "Gentlemen, let's begin. As you can see, our coffee runner has finally arrived." The billionaire at the head of the table raised a hand. Silence. He stared at me. Not at my wife, not at her father, at me. "You paid for a stranger's groceries this morning," he said, "at 9:14 a.m. My wife's father blinked. "What? How? Why does that matter?" The billionaire ignored him. "You didn't know I was there," he continued. "My foundation funds low-income assistance programs. I was observing community behavior. You acted without cameras, without pressure, without expectation." He leaned back. "And then, you walked into this room, and they belittled you." My wife's father laughed nervously. "Just a harmless joke." "No," the billionaire said. "It was a test, and you failed." A file slid across the table toward me. It was the folder I had compiled. My folder, with every document stamped by a third-party auditor. He had found it, verified it, completed it. My wife's face drained of color. Her father swallowed hard, realizing he wasn't the predator anymore. He was prey. Her father stammered, sweat gathering at his temples. This is a misunderstanding." "No," the billionaire said. "The deal is off." Panic splintered across the room. Her father grabbed the folder, flipping through pages like they were burning his hands. "These transfers, there must be a mistake." "There is," I said quietly. He froze. The mistake was assuming I wouldn't see it. My wife stepped forward, voice cracking. "You could have told me." "I did," I said, "just not with words." I watched her crumble, watched her realize every lie she whispered behind closed doors had led her here, standing beside a man exposed before the very people he needed most. Her father fell to his knees. "Please," he whispered, "talk to him. Get him to reconsider. I'll fix it. I'll make this right." "For who?" I asked. No answer. Only the shaky sound of a man who had lost everything he thought he controlled. I turned to the billionaire. "I'm done." He nodded once. My wife reached for me. I stepped back. Her hand hovered in the air, empty, exactly like her loyalty. I left the conference room without looking back. The sunlight in the hallway felt different, cleaner somehow. My phone vibrated again, a message from my wife. "Please, don't walk away. We can fix this." I deleted it. The elevator doors slid open, and the city stretched out in front of me like a vast, quiet promise. People think betrayal breaks you. It doesn't. It sharpens you. By the time I stepped out onto the street, the world felt calmer, simpler. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was behind anyone. I felt ahead. I looked up at the glass tower I had just left. One thought settled over me like snow. Some people don't deserve the truth until it destroys them.